Right now at 5, Florida's future taking shape.
Thank you, Florida, for your support.
But many questions still left unanswered tonight. 3 major races heading for a recount, the ballots that could play a key role in determining who wins.
Plus, the top priorities for Ron DeSantis as he prepares to move into the governor's mansion. Our Democracy 2018 coverage continues right now. But first, breaking news, Jeff Sessions' time as U.S. Attorney General is now over. In his resignation letter, he says he resigned at President Trump's request.
The major question now tonight, what will happen to the Russia meddling investigation? Sessions' replacement, Matthew Whitaker, will oversee the probe for now, but he has criticized that probe in the past. Democrats, meanwhile, in Congress tonight, demanding the investigation be protected.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Wendy Ryan.
And I'm Paula Gronin for Jameson. Next here tonight, the 6 local candidates now bracing for a recount almost 24 hours after the polls closed on election night. And one of the biggest races with the biggest ramifications, the Florida U.S. Senate race. Come on in here and take a closer look at how it played out last night. Rick Scott in the lead with about 30,000 votes over the incumbent Bill Nelson. This is what it looked like on the map in Florida. Bill Nelson picking up those votes in the counties there in blue, coming from major metropolitan areas, including Tampa Bay, but Rick Scott winning more counties on the whole in Florida, and he declared victory last night. Wendy.
Meanwhile, the other races that are still too close to call include the future agriculture commissioner. Republican Matt Caldwell leading Democrat Nicole Freed by just 1/4 percentage point. And the fight to represent Hillsborough County in the state Senate. Democrat Janet Cruz is ahead of incumbent Dana Young by less than 300 votes. ABC Action News reporter Kylie McGivern is live in Hillsborough County with the meticulous next steps for these possible recounts and its significance here. Kylie?
Yes, Wendy, this is where the supervisor of election staff is going through provisional ballots, going through mail-in ballots that came up until the last minute last night, and looking to make sure that all the votes were counted at the polling places.
This happens all the time. I've actually had to flip a coin to decide a race because it was dead tie.
4 years ago, in a recount for a community development district, the point being,
That's why every vote counts.
whether it's a Senate race or on a smaller scale, the Hillsborough County Supervisor of Elections says you have to remember, this is Florida.
We always have thin margins.
Because of that, political analyst Dr. Susan McManus weighed in on the value of a recount.
It is a great thing because you're absolutely assured of the integrity of the vote. The right person wins the election that got the most votes. Who could be against that?
The integrity of the vote, something called into question in the 2000 presidential election.
These very, very strict rules about what triggers a recount go back to Florida's problems in the 2000 election, where we did not have a very clear procedure for what would automatically generate a recount.
Bottom line, with multiple races being close enough to trigger a recount,
it ensures that we're going to have a very, very interested electorate in the 2020 presidential race. This is a state that you can truthfully say your vote will make a difference.
And so here's where we go from here. We should know more by noon on Saturday. That's when the counties have to get their information into the state, and we will know more about whether by law the state has to move forward with the recount. In Hillsborough County, Kylie McGivern, ABC Action News.
Kylie, thank you. And going deeper right now in some of these recount races tonight, Governor Rick Scott expressing confidence in what he is calling a victory in the race for Senate. His campaign telling us today, quote, the race is now over. It is a sad way for Bill Nelson to end his career. He is desperately trying to hold on to something that no longer exists, end quote. Nelson, by the way, only briefly saying today he is looking ahead to that recount.
Meanwhile, Janet Cruz declaring victory today in the Florida Senate District 18 race. She says she believes in the election system and she is ready to get to work.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I feel like a winner today, but it's not really about me. Everyone in Senate District 18 is a winner today because today we fight for the people of our district.
We're still waiting for comment from Dana Young, the incumbent, but when our reporter asked her just last night what if things don't go her way, this is what she told us.
Oh, we're not going to talk that way. See me afterward.
And part of the reason for these close races, high voter turnout. We're talking more than 8 million Floridians heading to the polls out of 13.2 million people registered in our state.
President Trump giving Florida's governor-elect Ron DeSantis a shout-out on Twitter today shortly after his win. The president tweeting out that Ron DeSantis showed great courage in his hard-fought campaign. So what is next for DeSantis? Well, our Carson Chambers looking into that tonight, explaining his top priorities and how DeSantis could make an immediate impact on one big issue facing Tampa Bay.
Florida voters chose Ron DeSantis in a narrow victory last night. Now he's saying he's ready to turn the political page and focus on pressing issues like Florida's water quality.
So we'll be taking action very quickly.
As red tide threatens a comeback along Tampa Bay beaches, Governor-elect Ron DeSantis already highlighting quick action he plans to take during his transition.
I've talked to the president about this. He understands it. He cares about Florida. And I told him that, some of this infrastructure needs to get going.
DeSantis, the Trump-endorsed victor in Florida's governor's race, is also focusing on national topics like the appointment of conservative Supreme Court justices.
These will be very, very smart, very principled people, but they're going to understand that their role is to apply the law, not to rewrite the law.
The Iraq War veteran also renewed his pledge to back law enforcement, active duty military, and veterans, and to defend Florida's strong economy.
I think the broad swath of Floridians want to keep our low tax environment.
Reporting in Orlando, I'm Carson Chambers for ABC Action News.
Meanwhile, Democrats are poised to take over the U.S. House come January, but President Donald Trump still declaring victory and saying the Republicans who lost because they did not support him. He also said he hopes to get more done.
I really believe that we have a chance to get along very well with the Democrats. And if that's the case, we can do a tremendous amount of legislation and get it approved. I really believe there's going to be much less gridlock.
Democrat Nancy Pelosi also spoke. She's expected to become the House Speaker. She said Democrats will stand their ground but try to compromise with President Trump.
And last night we spent hours tracking the results live as they came in, and to go in depth on the big races impacting your local community, just go to abcactionnews.com. We have posted this article which shows the full breakdown of all the votes and the amendments that you also helped pass.
Good afternoon, everybody. Another summer day across the area. Well, it feels like summer, right? With temperatures in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees. We've got some isolated showers across the area. So honestly, you look at today and it looks like it should be more like early September than early November, but that's where we are, upper 80s to near 90. The dew points have been high, and that also means some fog first thing in the morning. We've had a few showers out there this afternoon and a few more this evening. Big outdoor concert over at Ray J this evening. There's an outside chance of a quick shower, but I think most of the rain that does pop will be over across our interior county. So we'll go partly cloudy through the evening, warm and muggy. We're tracking a couple of fronts over the next 7 days, and one is going to give us a pretty big cool down next week. More on that coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Dennis, thank you. And happening right now, Hillsborough County deputies tonight still trying to figure out how a woman died after someone found her body by the side of the road in Lutz. This grim discovery made this morning right off Sierra Pines Boulevard and Luke's Lake Fern Road. So far, officials are only calling this death a death investigation. They're hoping that tips from the public will help them hone in on exactly what happened.
Deputies have charged a Wesley Chapel man with video voyeurism for allegedly spying on a woman that he knew. Pasco County deputies tell us Michael Petralia put a camera in the attic of the house so that the lens pointed into a small hole in the ceiling of that woman's bedroom. The victim told authorities she became scared in her own house because of Petralia's actions. Deputies say they knew it was him because that camera actually recorded him setting everything up.
Hamburger Mary's in Ybor City is no more. The restaurant posting this thank you message on their Tampa Bay Facebook page today, just after 24 hours after it abruptly shut down for good. It comes after a worker tested positive for hepatitis A, and an ABC Action News investigation did find roaches and rodents in the kitchen there, and where a temporary shutdown happened. The owner of the restaurant became emotional as he explained those issues. He said it was just too much for that location to overcome.
It's very hard for me. This is the hardest day of my life.
The owner now working to transfer some of the 48 employees to other Hamburger Mary's locations in Brandon and St. Petersburg.
Well, one of the biggest names in pop music right now is performing tonight right here in Tampa. Ed Sheeran will be joined by special guest Snow Patrol. Here is a live look at Raymond James Stadium right across the street from our station where Sheeran will be performing tonight. You see the crowds already gathering. Traffic anchor Sarah Finney shows you what you can expect on the roads, whether you go or not.
Expect extra traffic around Raymond James Stadium tonight because thousands of fans will be in the area to see Ed Sheeran. Gates open at 5:30. The concert kicks off at 7. Watch for congestion on roads, including MLK, Dale Mabry, as well as Himes. If you're using Uber or Lyft, remember the drop-off area is at Dale Mabry. The pickup is at Steinbrenner Field. For the latest traffic updates, follow Tampa Bay Traffic on Twitter or download our free mobile app.
And we've posted more details about this concert, including what you can and cannot bring into Ray J on our website. Head over to abcactionnews.com.
A lot still ahead for you tonight at 5, including the scam that is spanning 150 miles, how police say a local woman used legitimate websites as a trap for people looking to rent a home.
Plus, a deadly crash leads to calls for change. The two demands from bikers they hope will keep others from getting killed.
And by now you may have seen this video, a Florida man leaping into an exhibit full of crocodiles. New tonight, the charges he's now going to face, plus the bizarre things he told the people who helped him.
All right, let's walk you through some clear new video. This is of a bystander trying to stop a smash and grab thief. I want you to take a closer look at this clip from St. Pete Police. They say the guy you see running smashed the window of a car in the Rococo Steakhouse parking lot and taking a purse from the inside. A man in a blue shirt goes after him, but that suspect ultimately gets away. Call police if you recognize that guy right there.
Tonight, a Winter Haven woman is accused of a Craigslist scam. Police say that she tried to rent out homes that she doesn't even own in other parts of the state. Here's how it worked. Arrest documents show that once the victim mailed Nikila Wilson a $3,500 check last year, thinking that he would be able to rent a home in Siesta Key, but then another legitimate site still had that property listed just at a higher price, and Wilson stopped responding to his messages, according to detectives. Police say that she did the same thing with a home in Naples. Well, if you're planning to travel for the Thanksgiving holiday, listen to this. The Transportation Security Administration says the number of travelers will be unprecedented, with some 25 million people expected to fly. That is up 7% from last year. Heavy travel expected to start as early as the Friday before Thanksgiving this year, with people trying to get ahead of the crowds.
One of the bicyclists hit by a car in Venice last week has died. 3 other bikers he was with are still recovering after that crash. And as ABC Action News reporter Jake Peterson reports, other cyclists are now asking for safety changes on Center Road where that tragic accident happened.
Neighbors and fellow riders
There have to be some changes made to Center Road.
are heartbroken since seeing this scene on Center Road. 4 bicyclists were hit by a 91-year-old driver last week. William Harrison died this week from his injuries.
It's dangerous. We need to have the commissioners take a look.
And that's what they're doing. A group of fellow bicyclists joined together at the Sarasota County Commission chambers Wednesday morning to ask for change. They're doing it in Harrison's memory.
We consider ourselves family to each other.
Some of the residents here would like to see the speed limit lowered on this road from 45 to 35.
Lowering the speed limit would be the number one help.
Although state troopers say the driver of the car did nothing wrong. Investigators say the group of bicyclists made an improper lane change, and that's when they were hit by the car.
We're all devastated by it.
But friends of the cyclists say lowering the speed limit is still a step in the right direction to prevent future accidents.
They could be going 55, 60 miles an hour, and you're within 3 feet of those automobiles. It becomes concerning.
County commissioners promised to take up the speed limit issue at a later meeting. Reporting in Venice, Jake Peterson, ABC Action News.
All right, take a look at this. We now know what charges a Florida man will face after he jumped into a crocodile pit. The whole thing caught on camera at a St. Augustine animal farm. This video clearly shows him leaping into the pond. Then he gets attacked and then he escapes over a fence. Now, the staff there realized something was wrong when they found a pair of shorts and shoes abandoned near that crocodile exhibit. Neighbors found him wandering a little while later. Listen.
I think his thing was he kept saying, I was held hostage, and a place that had a pool with gators.
So this guy went to the hospital to be checked out, but once he gets out of the hospital, he's going to be booked into jail on charges of burglary and criminal mischief. And I still don't know why he would jump into a pit of crocodiles.
No one does, Paul. No one does. Meantime, tomorrow is the first chance for racing fans to get their tickets for next year's Firestone Grand Prix. The nationally televised race will once again take place in downtown St. Petersburg. Sales to the public start at 10 a.m. and Grand Prix events begin March 8th with the main event set for March 10th.
One of the coolest things in Tampa Bay is sporting events.
Yeah, it is cool. I've gone many years, and it's really cool. And usually the weather is perfect along the water.
Yeah.
Not like right now where it's too hot.
It is. It's hot, it's humid, and there are a couple of showers out there. Even for the concert, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I mean, there's one or two little sprinkles that continue to develop, so I guess there's not a 0% chance of rain over Ray J, but chances look good. There's a look at outside where you can see folks are just about ready to head on in. I believe we said gates opened at 5, so I guess they have opened, and now it's just the line of getting in for the Ed Sheeran concert tonight over at Ray J. And again, I really think the weather's going to be just fine. A live look at Titan Doppler radar. We did see one little shower just around Carrollwood and back toward the Eastlake Woodlands area, just northeast of West Chase, and a larger area right along eastern Polk County, even a couple of lightning strikes there. You've got your heat, you've got your humidity, and it really feels like a late summer day, which is why we are seeing a few isolated storms. So you can't say it's impossible for there to be rain around the concert or closer to the beach tonight, but it really shouldn't be a problem. Temperatures at this hour, this is what's unusual. Up near record highs, again, upper 80s to near 90 earlier on. We've cooled off into the low 70s along the beach because that water temperature is pretty comfortable now, cooling off into the mid 70s. Those dew points continue to rise, and that's a very good indicator that we're going to get some fog tomorrow morning like we did this morning, especially across those inland counties. Outside right now, skies are mostly sunny, 82 in Tampa and in Clearwater, 81 in St. Pete. There's a satellite picture. Just kind of looks like a July and August day, doesn't it? I mean, you see sunshine in the afternoon, and then all of a sudden those showers and those storms begin to pop up over on the East Coast, and they move west. Now, we're not going to see nearly the intensity that we get in July or August because it's not as hot out. But still, we are looking at a pretty moderate shower and even a couple of storms in eastern Polk County, and they'll continue to move across the area. Now, the fact that the sun sets in about an hour means they will fizzle out rather quickly shortly thereafter. So that's why I just don't think it's going to be a huge deal. You notice the Futurecast, the rain pretty much out of here. And then wake up time on Thursday, much like we had today, much like we'll have on Friday, a little bit of fog across Polk County, eastern Hillsborough County. And then once we hit 9 or 10 o'clock, it burns off, and then just another afternoon with an isolated shower, maybe a quick storm coverage about maybe 20%. That's the same thing on Friday as well. So you'll wake up with a little bit of fog and then some isolated showers in the afternoon. Next weather system is a front that comes in this weekend. I don't think it's going to give us any kind of cooler air per se, back to where we should be, but I do think it bumps up the rain chances just a touch by this weekend. I wouldn't change any outdoor plans, though. It still should be okay. Forecast highs on Thursday and again on Friday. Up near record highs, upper 80s to near 90 from Dade City over to Brooksville back to Inverness. Not quite as warm along the beach. Upper 80s to near 90 from Arcadia over to Avon Park, back to Lakeland, Haines City, and mid 80s from Bradenton down to Venice. So what about that cold front that we've been talking about next week? Well, it's still on the way. And by the middle of next week, the numbers drop, highs in the 60s, lows in the 40s, just for 1 or maybe 2 days, and then maybe even some 30s in our northern counties, Citrus, maybe Hernando County. That's likely to be next Wednesday and Thursday. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast. Partly cloudy skies, mild, muggy overnight, waking up to temperatures in the low 70s. Another warm one in store for the area on Thursday. Your out-the-door forecast starting in the 70s with some fog, warming up into the mid-80s later on. And the beach looks good, too. UV index will be on the high side, water temperature in the mid-70s, air temperature in the low 80s. Florida's most accurate 7-day forecast. Rain chances, maybe 10 to 20% through Friday. The first of 2 fronts comes in this weekend. So at that point, we'll take those rain chances up to about 20%, but they'll be much higher later on in the period. And we'll talk about that coming up in the next half hour.
All right, thanks, Dan. Well, still ahead, your kids probably try all kinds of things to help make their backpacks more comfortable. The one move that could actually hurt their backs and what you should encourage them to try instead.
And look at this, the bus stop brawl tonight. The argument, police say, ended with a mother smashing a coffee cup over another mom's head. Well, doctors treating thousands of kids each year for backpack injuries. And so tonight we're asking the question, how heavy is too heavy?
Yeah, it's a good question. And a new study used computer simulations to actually figure this out. The research from the New York Spine Surgery and Rehabilitation Center found posture plays a big role here. They found every pound in a backpack equals 7 pounds of force on a straight spine. But for someone who's slumped forward, each pound is equal to 12 pounds of force. So remind your kids, ears above your shoulders and shoulders back. Stand up straight.
It's good. Teach them good posture at the same time. Right? Still ahead here tonight, a controversial Florida pastime now a thing of the past. What is next for the dog race tracks and the greyhounds after voters essentially signed off on the end of dog racing? We're going in depth tonight. Plus,
burglars busted. Still ahead, the national agency that gave them one power that made it easier to sell the stolen property.
and hepatitis A concerns growing tonight in the Tampa Bay area. So should food service workers now be required to be vaccinated? We're talking to local doctors.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Lakeland Toyota. Save more on I-4.
Tonight, as we come on the air, breaking political news in Florida and across the country tonight as the Florida Senate race goes into recount mode and Attorney General Jeff Sessions resigns. The balance of power still taking shape tonight. And the question, how could a split Congress affect your everyday life? The death of dog racing with Amendment 13 passing, the days of this are now over. So what is next for the iconic Tampa Bay pastime? Fake businesses selling stolen property. Tonight, ABC Action News uncovering the local scam and the 3 suspects now facing federal charges. And tonight, our first look at Tampa's newest, tallest skyscraper, how it's about to change the city and what's in it for you. At first up here at 5:30, the fake business scam exposed. Tonight, 3 suspects now facing federal racketeering charges. And ABC Action News reporter Isabel Rosales uncovering how this trio allegedly created their own phony business to unload stolen property.
And these expensive trailers were their targets. They would steal them, scrub the VIN, put their own on top, and then resell them. But there's one hidden giveaway that let investigators know these were stolen. A major series of racketeering involving burglary across county lines now over with these 3 behind bars.
I'm so glad that they got caught and that I hope justice serves them well.
Chris Tumman manages Load Runner Trailers, one of at least 15 businesses targeted. Now, John Perkins and brother and sister Mary and John Goodman face federal charges.
A little cold inside, but it makes you want to give up on humanity.
According to arrest warrants, the Goodmans broke into his property and took off with 2 trailers worth nearly $15,000. Investigators say Goodman set up a fake business called Pro-Built Trailers, then actually registered it with the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, who, quote, granted the business the ability to create and issue VINs. The suspect would remove the original VINs, put his own on them, and then sell the stolen property. Tumman wonders how NHTSA didn't catch them.
I think that they need to tighten up their scrutiny on people.
We asked the same, and we're told NHTSA does not comment on open or ongoing litigations. The loss continues for those who bought the stolen trailers.
When the Sheriff's Department found this trailer, they confiscated it, and they're just out. They bought stolen property.
Investigators identifying the stolen trailers via hidden VIN markings.
I'm going to continue to work hard and try to make money because that's the American way.
In Hillsborough County, Isabel Rosales, ABC Action News.
Developing tonight, a teenager hit by a car while riding a bicycle this morning. This happened on Northcliffe Boulevard in Hernando County. Troopers tell us the boy waited for the signal at a crosswalk to cross the intersection, but they say a driver making a turn did not see the child, hit him, threw him off his bike. That driver did not stay at the scene. No word yet on if charges are going to be filed on this one. We're told the boy, though, thankfully is expected to be okay. It was down to the wire, but Florida has a new governor tonight. Republican Ron DeSantis narrowly edging out Andrew Gillum. But what we're still unsure of tonight, what's still yet to be determined, is who will represent Florida in the U.S. Senate. That race between Bill Nelson, the incumbent, and Republican Rick Scott likely heading toward a recount. And Floridians are not just watching this one, Washington is too. Republicans did maintain control of the Senate. They picked up seats, in fact, but the Democrats did take control of the House. So starting January 3rd of next year, the White House will have to navigate a divided Congress. Leaders in both parties speaking this morning, saying they expect to agree on issues including infrastructure and prescription drugs. Locally, 12 of the 13 amendments on your ballot did pass last night. One gaining national attention, Amendment 4, restoring voting rights of people with felony convictions. Another major decision, Amendment 3, giving voters control of gambling in Florida, and that means citizens decide through a vote to authorize casino gambling operations in the future. And finally, Amendment 13, the ban on dog racing. And tonight we are following up on that, diving deeper into that decision, which essentially now ends dog racing in Florida. Industry leaders tonight telling us Florida is their big moneymaker. So J.J. Burton is finding out what is next for the Greyhounds.
More than 5 million Floridians voted yes to Amendment 13, a huge victory for the Humane Society.
We are very, very happy.
All Florida tracks must stop dog racing by the end of 2020.
I'm just glad that the dogs won. It's a pretty easy argument for me because the dogs were kept in cages for a long time and there were dog deaths every 3 days.
Those who oppose the amendment say the dogs were healthy and never mistreated. They say getting rid of racing could leave thousands jobless and end a business that brings in nearly $200 million for the state every year. But the state says dog racing revenue has been on the decline for years, and a good portion of the industry's money comes from card games and slot machines at tracks like Derby Lanes.
I'm sure there will be some people that lose their jobs, and obviously we're sorry for that, but people are going to have to remake themselves and find other jobs.
The American Greyhound Council, which regulates dog racing, told me they're worried about what will happen to the nearly 8,000 dogs impacted. We asked the Humane Society about that.
These dogs will end up in a shelter or a rescue group, and they will be found a home. So these dogs are so amazing.
In Tampa, J.J. Burton, ABC Action News.
And we do have all the results from last night's races right now on abcactionnews.com. We're going to be following any recounts also very closely. We will update you right there on our free mobile app. All right, taking a live look outside Raymond James Stadium tonight, and there is an Ed Sheeran concert. The fans already arriving there. The concert starts at 7 o'clock. It's shutting down several streets around the stadium. We have a full breakdown on the areas to avoid on our website if you're going to be going through that area. But if you are going to the concert, Dennis, the question, will the weather hold up?
I think it will, Paul. I mean, there have been a couple of showers within 5-10 miles of the stadium over the last hour or two. Right now, though, the only rain is over in eastern Polk County. Now, remember, once we hit sunset, and we're getting pretty close, these showers will fizzle out. So I think we're looking pretty good right on through the evening hours, with temperatures still unusually warm, up near 90 east of I-75, upper 70s to low 80s closer to the beach after a high today of 85 in Tampa, but 88 in Brooksville, Lakeland, Bartow, and in Winter Haven. So this evening, still can't rule out a couple of showers and storms, especially in eastern Polk, Highlands County, maybe Hardy and DeSoto. I think the closer you get to the beach, the lower those chances will be. But still, there's enough moisture so you'll also wake up to a little bit of fog first thing on Thursday morning. So this evening, partly cloudy, warm and muggy by 11 o'clock in the mid-70s. We've been talking a lot about some cooler air. It's in the 7-day, and we'll tell you exactly when it arrives coming up in a couple of minutes.
Dennis, thank you. New here tonight, the search for this missing 13-year-old girl now expanding to Florida. The FBI announcing a $15,000 reward after they say a man grabbed the teenager from her own front yard in North Carolina Monday morning. This is the very latest that we know tonight. Hanwa Aguilar went outside to start the car so that her relative could drive her to the bus stop. Investigators say a man then forced her into a green Ford Expedition with South Carolina license plates. The FBI is now searching in North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, And now we've learned tonight Florida part of that search as well. Tonight, people in Pinellas County pushing for change after workers at 2 popular restaurants tested positive for the contagious hepatitis A virus. Now, Florida does not require food workers to be tested or even be vaccinated for hepatitis A. In fact, only a few cities and counties across the country require that. Within the past month, workers at Hamburger Mary's in Ybor City and the Toasted Monkey restaurant in St. Pete Beach both tested positive for Hep A. One St. Pete Beach doctor who specializes in hepatitis A cases says that it should be a wake-up call for Florida leaders.
Now that we're seeing this outbreak again, we've brought it to the surface, and we can get these people vaccinated and prevent these kind of things from happening.
We contacted the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulations to see if they will make changes requiring vaccines and tests for food workers. We will, of course, let you know as soon as we hear back from them. A new update here tonight. The state says they have received more than 124 tips on that new app created for students to support and report suspicious activity. The Fortify app, it launched last month. Developers recently made changes to it after a Sarasota father raised concerns about staying anonymous. Well, now police officers or deputies will no longer receive user information. Happening in just about an hour, your chance to weigh in on big changes coming to downtown Tampa. City leaders want your feedback on how to make Channelside Drive safer for all the extra pedestrian traffic that the Water Street project is expected to generate. You can give your ideas tonight at 6:30 in the Port Tampa Bay boardroom. The Highlands County Sheriff's Office honoring one of their own tonight who was killed in the line of duty 6 months after his death. They added Deputy William Gentry to a fallen deputy memorial. A gunman shot and killed Deputy Gentry while he was on duty in May. His service to the community, though, lives on thanks to him being an organ donor. And check this out, a new canine will now be hitting the streets with deputies soon. The Manatee County Kennel Club funding the training and purchase of patrol canine Phantom. He is a 19-month-old Belgian. This is the 3rd canine in the Kennel Club that has donated to the Sheriff's Office in 3 years. Still ahead here tonight, our first look at an addition to Tampa's skyline that's about to pop on Tampa City. The reason developers say they're actually redesigning part of the tower, which will be Tampa's tallest, just weeks before construction begins. And a dog known for his kiteboarding skills just vanishes from a popular Bay Area event. The new clues tonight and the reward that is now being offered to help find the missing dog. And Hillsborough County will soon pay the highest sales tax in the state. New tonight, the first projects that your money will help fix. And here's Good Morning Tampa Bay meteorologist Greg Dean with an early look at your wake-up forecast.
Good evening, everybody. Fall weather nowhere to be found around the Bay Area. We've got another mild overnight coming up. Temperatures down into the low to mid 70s around Tampa. Likely a little bit cooler as you head into the inland areas east of 75. By 8 o'clock early Thursday morning, Tampa temperature in the mid 70s with a mix of clouds and sun. We're tracking a couple of cold fronts in the 7-day forecast. One that could bring a big cool down. The latest numbers start at 4:30 on Good Morning Tampa Bay.
New tonight, we have chilling video here showing 2 men with guns trying to beat down the door of a home in Auburndale. The family who lives there woken up by the banging. You can clearly see the guns in their hands as they beat and then kick down the door. They were able to get in. They took off. If you recognize anything or anyone in this video, go ahead and call Crime Stoppers. The Polk County Sheriff's Office needs your help tonight. Pasco County deputies right now unpacking a fencing company scam that they believe has cost multiple people thousands of dollars. Deputies arresting Corbin Ruthman, the owner of the fence depot in Zephyr Hills. They say that he took deposits anywhere from $700 to $10,000 from customers, telling them that it would be used to buy materials for a fencing job, but he never showed up to actually do the work. Over to the digital dashboard here, and now because thousands of you are now reading and sharing this story on our ABC Action News Facebook page, police are calling us about a missing dog named Zeus. And here's the story on this one. As you can see, Zeus, not just an ordinary dog, he is known for kiteboarding, and police say someone stole him from an event this past weekend. And tonight, ABC Action News reporter Nicole Grigg talking to the young owner begging to get him back.
This is Zeus, the kiteboarding dog, known for his videos like this and being a sidekick to his owners, this father and son duo.
He'll come kiting with me with his hands on the bar and everything, and he loves it. He's like a part of the sport.
16-year-old Cameron Marimonides is a future Olympic hopeful for kiteboarding. He was at a competition this past weekend under the Skyway Bridge.
And Zeus, he's always stayed in the back of our van or a truck or everything, and he knows not to jump down or anything. He's trained like not to respond.
But after Cameron's turn out on the water, when he returned, Zeus was gone.
I asked some people and they said, yeah, we saw a guy start playing with him and everything and pick him up and put him in his car and drive off.
St. Pete police say the man reportedly in his 60s or 70s took off in a gray Toyota Camry. The family says it may not have been done maliciously, but they're offering a $3,500 reward for his return.
All that me and my family ask is for somebody to step up and be a hero and just get our baby boy back.
If you have any information on Zeus, we have a link where to report it on abcactionnews.com. In Bradenton, Nicole Grigg, ABC Action News.
Apple is hitting back tonight with a new way to keep your phone secure. A couple of years ago, Apple made headlines for refusing to unlock a phone for police. Well, then a company called Grayshift offered a device that law enforcement could actually use to crack iPhones. But the latest software update from Apple appears to block that device. Experts do not think the stronghold will last.
So for the time being, I don't see it being more than a chess game, that there are going to be advances made on either side, and I don't think there's going to be a definitive, if you will, checkmate in the foreseeable future.
So here's the bottom line on this one. If you are worried about security, experts say to activate USB restrict mode on your phone. That essentially disables devices trying to hack into your phone. Brand new renderings tonight, giving us our first look at the soon-to-be Riverwalk Place on Tampa's Riverwalk. Tonight, developers announcing they are already receiving nearly $70 million worth of deposits from people who want to secure one of the condos in this building. The demand so high that they are now redesigning an office portion of the tower to be more condos. It will also include 4 restaurants right there on the Riverwalk level. Construction starts early next year. This is going to be Tampa's tallest building. Hey, it's that time of year happening tomorrow. Disney officially kicking off the holiday season with a special Frozen theme light show. This is going to be fun to see. The show starts at 6:10 in the evening. Disney will live stream it from the Magic Kingdom, and we'll have that live stream, by the way, for you on our ABC Action News Facebook page. No one does it better than Disney.
Yeah, that castle right there, that's always spectacular when they have all the icicle lights on it. Just an amazing thing.
Now all we're missing is a little bit cooler weather, but I understand changes could be coming, huh?
Middle of next week, yeah, we're going to cool off big time. Up until then, though, we still got a lot of heat, a lot of humidity. You look outside, we're almost to sunset. The mainsail, there are some folks along the beach, and why not when you have air temperatures in the mid to upper 80s and water temperature in the mid-70s. Titan Doppler radar, we've actually been tracking some rain, few showers in Hillsborough County, but almost all of the showers, and for that matter, a couple of thunderstorms, are going on in eastern Polk County, but they're moving more of a south to north direction. Don't think it's going to be much of an issue, and truthfully, usually after sunset with this kind of a pattern, things begin to fizzle out rather quickly. So don't think it'll be a problem this evening if you're heading outside. With temperatures still unusually warm. Right now we've cooled into the low to mid 80s after highs today in the mid to upper 80s, and the dew points are very summer-like. When you have dew points above 70, that's when this time of the year it very often means fog. We had it this morning. We'll have it again tomorrow morning as well, especially east of I-75. Partly cloudy at the airport right now in Tampa. The dew point 72. West winds coming in off the Gulf at 7 miles an hour. So we ended up hitting 85 degrees. That's 5 degrees above normal. The morning low only dropped down to 78 degrees above normal. The record high 88. We didn't break that in Tampa, but we had several 88s in Polk County where they did tie or break some records. St. Pete right now clear and 81 degrees. The dew point up there as well. And Sarasota also clear, 82. West-southwest winds at 6 miles an hour. Satellite kind of looks like summer. You start off with sunny most of the day, and then all of a sudden, late afternoon, early evening, you start to see these showers and even some storms. Now, clearly, they're not going to be as strong as they are in July and August. We don't have the heat working that we do in the summertime. But still, that shows you just how warm it is. This isn't a cold front causing this. It's just our heating of the day, a sea breeze, and a lot of moisture out there. 8 o'clock tonight, maybe a quick little shower across a few spots, but otherwise you can kind of see how the clouds are lingering. And by tomorrow morning, there will be that fog that I talked about. Some folks who had some dense fog visibility less than half a mile today, I think will see more of that early tomorrow morning. Birds off by about 10 o'clock. Rest of the day turns out to be nice, except for a few more showers later on in the afternoon. Same setup again on Friday. Morning sunshine for most of us, some fog interior, and then some isolated storms. We're tracking the first of two fronts. That first one arrives on Saturday, giving us maybe a little bit better chance of a couple of showers. But it's still all about the temperatures, waking up in the upper 60s to low 70s on Thursday, warming up into the upper 80s. Same setup again on Friday morning, some fog interior, warm and muggy, and then back into the middle 80s. But down the road, middle of next week, the second front comes in. You know, I'm looking for highs in the 60s on our coldest day, probably Wednesday or Thursday. Morning lows for a lot of us in the 40s, maybe some 30s in our northern counties. Water temperatures 77 degrees now for the boaters. Northwest winds at 5 to 10 knots. Florida's most accurate 7-day forecast. Rain chances only about 10% through Friday. Highs well above normal, about 6 or 7 degrees above normal. Now, by the weekend, that first front gets close enough to give us a little bit better chance of an isolated shower. Don't change weekend plans. Just be cognizant you might have an isolated shower or two, especially in the afternoon hours. But then the stronger front, the cooler one, arrives by the middle of next week with highs in the 60s.
Can't wait for that, Dennis. Thank you. Still ahead here tonight, we are helping you plan the holiday menu, the 3 ways that you can keep the stress level low in the kitchen this year. Tonight, we are helping you simplify your holiday cooking so your stress level does not boil over. Here's Good Morning Tampa Bay anchor James Tully.
In this Tully's How-To, getting a jump start on your holiday cooking, I found some great free apps for your phone or tablet that I know will make things easier. Now, thumbing through a recipe book, forget it. It's truly a thing of the past. With Organize Eat, you snap a picture of your favorite recipe like this, or just clip one from the web, and it will organize them for you. Now, if you need to find recipes, I really like Yummly. This app has a database of over 2 million recipes that you can sort and filter through by cook time, ingredients you or a family member might be allergic to, or nutritional info. It's for Apple and Android. And finally, just a lifesaver for Thanksgiving. Don't burn the mashed potatoes, undercook the stuffing while worrying about how long the turkey has yet to cook. Timer Plus will keep track of all of the dishes you're cooking all at one time. All of these apps are free, and I have links so you can download them all right now on abcactionnews.com. Hope this helps.
Still ahead tonight, slashed with a coffee mug, 2 mothers ending up in the hospital. Tonight, one of them relives what led up to a brawl at a school bus stop. At Red Tide, not getting any better. New at 6, the famous face, though, now jumping into the local crisis that has been plaguing our beaches for months.